This is Johnny doing his dressage test in the advanced division. We got one of our best scores to date of our career together, scoring a 27.7. So coming down the center line, I'm working on keeping him straight. It can always be tough with him sometimes about halting, but he halted. And I have to do it pretty quickly or he can tend to get upset. So I was actually very pleased that he halted. So come through the turn, working on shoulder in, making sure I have him corrected on my outside rein with my inside leg, and the shoulders are off the track. And then we proceed to a medium trot. You have to make sure you get him nice and straight. Get him back before the letter to show the transitions. Bending him around the corner to get the shoulder in again this way. I maybe could have had a little bit more angle going this direction. And then again to the medium trot. He was much more over his back, so he wasn't necessarily flicking his toes as much as he's done in the past when he gets a little hollow and nervous. Now I'm preparing him for my extended trot, so really have to engage the hind leg. Do a little half halt to make sure I don't lose the balance over X. And then I get him back again, showing the transition. It's really important to get your bend through the corner and position your shoulder 4 before you ask for the half pass. You half pass to X. And then we did a 10-meter circle. This is a really good test for him because there's a lot of footwork. So he tends to be a horse that likes to anticipate. So this really helps him stay thinking. And I did a change in direction. I make sure I want to have those shoulders leading for the shoulder 4. And then I ask for the half pass. He does a pretty darn good half pass. To M. Then I ask for the halt, which I was a smidge late for the halt. He was perfectly square, but I could have got like an even better score if I would have had the halt right at C with my leg over the letter. Now we're in our medium walk. Again, he was very rideable in this test. I kind of figured out how he likes his warm-up, so he's a horse that prefers a shorter warm-up. Now we go into our extended walk, which can be a little tough with him sometimes because he wants to bounce kind of off the contact sometimes and not take his contact. So he could have taken it a little bit further down and out, but he was overtracking really nicely and swinging through his back. And again, I wasn't having to feel like I was on a rocket ship yet, which is a nice feeling. And then I go into the canter transition, which was nice and smooth. Now we do a medium across the diagonal here. And we're supposed to come back at P and then flying change, which will happen at A. Again, a little bit late on my accuracy, but the change was really clean. So sometimes you have to make the decision if your horse isn't in the balance to get the accuracy or to have the correctness of the movement. And you saw right there, I kind of fuddled his lead change because I was trying to get it to happen sooner at C, and I didn't ask him when he was straight, so I lost a couple of points in that change. So now we do our half 10-meter circle. And again, I want to have the shoulders leading for the half pass. Did very good half pass. And flying change. Again, that was nice and clean. Very through his body and over his back. Now we have to do the stretch circle. He stretched a little bit, but really could have taken the bit a little bit further down and out, but that's okay. He didn't tense up and change the rhythm of his canter, so I think I scored a 6.5 on that canter circle. Now coming down the long side, I'm going to keep working on that shoulder 4, positioning for the half 10-meter circle, so then I can have a correct position for my half pass. Very good. And then flying change at M. His right to left can be his tougher change, but as you saw earlier, but that one was very good and clean. So now we go for extended canter, and I really press him for that. Has a very good extended canter, and he behaved and came back, which was nice. Now we come down to the center line. Pretty straight. He wants to drift maybe a smidge. And then we drop down to the trot, which can be hard on these smart older horses. And then the halt. It's pretty square. I was very pleased with him. He put in a really good round. Again, one of our best scores of our career together. Now going into the show jump. He can always get a little anxious once we go into the ring, so my job is to kind of get him a little settled. I like to make him go forward and come back, go forward and come back, so I have the hind end kind of waiting. And I have to make sure I have enough energy in the canter. As he's a thoroughbred, their power comes from going forward. And he's jumping really well. Having a great shape over the jumps. This course was a little tough because we had some tight turns and there were a lot of jumps, so you really had to stay focused on where you were going, or it's very easy to get lost. So he jumped that line pretty well. Again, trying to keep him balanced through the corner, keeping his shape. We caught a little bit of the flyer to that one, so I had to half halt. And then he jumped the stew out of that oxer. So I'm feeling pretty good right now. Again, trying to rebalance here. And he held it together for that. And then I felt he just got a little distracted there. I was a little far off of it, but he ended up taking the front rail down. So I had to rebalance him again here. This vertical to vertical. Oh, sorry, vertical to oxer. Jumped that really well. Now again, we have kind of a long ways to go, so it's have to keep them balanced here for this skinny jump. And of course, we had just barely rolled it, and then he jumped right over the in and out. So overall, I was really pleased with his round. So heading to cross country, felt great. Just working on our lines and letting him kind of gallop on across the field. Now we're coming up to a kind of a bank question where you go down to a skinny house and he just pings right over that. It was pretty soft. I mean, not soft for an advanced course, but pretty straightforward is a better word to say. And he has an amazing gallop, which is always super fun. He really is a fantastic cross-country horse because he loves it, and he loves searching for the flags. So I'm really always trying to be efficient on my lines, trying to take the straightest route I can and save as much ground. So you'll see I'll ride to the right side of this combination, because then we have kind of a right-handed turn. Oops, sorry about the wiggling of the camera. We come to the water jump. I have to make sure I stay a little forward off his back so he doesn't hollow. And he jumped that really well. And then there was a double log oxer that I jumped that was a little low, so I had to make sure he paid attention. And then he's just jumping really great and out of stride. It's more efficient for the horses if you can get there on a nice stride to where they're not having to go fast or slow down, then you're not zapping their energy. We went through the sunken road and jumped a skinny. He did really good there. I was a little far off of that chevron, and he held his line because he's amazing. So now I'm coming to, this is an accuracy question. This is just a roll top. We come to where we have 2 angles, and I put a pretty steep angle on this because I can trust Johnny. We practiced this a fair bit, and we did it in 5 strides, which I think was the least amount through there of the day. And he did a really good job. He ended up going inside the time and finished up 3rd overall for the weekend. So I was really pleased with how he felt. It was a good weekend, just getting him out and about, and was really happy with him.